Hey, what's up, everyone? We have returned. So, Giant showcased the other night from Capcom. They showed us a lot more World Tour details. We also have a demo dropping. Unfortunately, I can't play it right now because I'm PS4 and PS5. And a lot of information, man. It's great. This is looking like a full-fledged fighting game here. Like an actual game.
Absolutely. I mean, they've shown so much, and I'm glad that they did. That was a very long presentation. It was
Yeah.
upwards of 20 minutes, I think, 25,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, it was really long. But for today, I actually want to talk about the DLC characters because I didn't see that coming at all. I can't believe they even mentioned it. Of course, we didn't get any footage, but I still think we should talk about it again ever since from before that leak list. I want to compare the previous artwork screenshots, talk about more about how you think these characters are going to play. And of course, we got to talk about those release dates, man. There is going to be a lot of talk on that as well. Absolutely. Already. So let's start with Rashid, man. So Rashid looks like at least we know the order too. Rashid is going to be the first character dropping for us. And looking at the previous leaked artwork for him, he looks generally the same. I think there's like more of this kind of yellow flare around him on at least on the artwork side of him. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that yellow flare is mostly kind of like his shadow in the artwork. It's not necessarily part of his outfit, I don't think. And like you said, most of the rest of his gear, his attire, I should say, looks about the same. The shoes have some fancy gadget, as we've seen in Street Fighter 5 as well. He has these chest rig things, bandoliers around his chest, which probably hold, like maybe a more advanced version of his backpack from Street Fighter 5.
Yeah, that weird device. And it's kind of cool because the director actually released this tweet and showing like this little funny doodle animation. And it's showing, it looks like Rashid's V-Trigger 1, like a tornado or a twister. And it's showing the device. The device is creating the wind, or at least manipulating it. And before in Street Fighter 5, he was wearing like some kind of like backpack, right? Like it was showing that like that's how the wind. It's not like magic, it's like a device, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
So that actually gives us some information.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's possible that could be part of the rework and improvement that they've done of the character for Street Fighter 6, where this could be part of his gameplay now, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you throw it around and it creates kind of like a minefield, not minefield, but like you can throw mines that are little tornadoes on the field through this little drone or whatever this is, right?
Right. It's cool. It's because like that pretty much means that he's probably gonna have his V-Trigger 1 in Street Fighter 6, right? No reason like for him to draw it like that, right? I would assume
it's very possible, right? Level 2, I think.
Yeah, I would think it'd be a level 2 as well. Definitely utility. It'd be way too strong if it was a level 1. That'd be insane. You like use it 3 times in a row. Can you imagine? But I think it's cool that it shows the device. And, back at the shoes again, you see that little blue kind of like futuristic thing, maybe. I was thinking maybe that has something to do with how he manipulates, how he traverses through the wind. Like when he jumps to the tornado, he moves really fast. I mean, obviously that's the wind itself, but maybe the shoes help him too.
If I remember correctly, in Street Fighter 5, he had these... They look like kind of like outlets on his shoes, so maybe the air comes out of the shoes to propel him forwards when he does Eagle Spike and dive kicks and whatever, all the wind effects. Maybe that's how he creates the whirlwinds.
Yeah,
with his feet. So this could be the very same thing, but for Street Fighter 6.
Right. It's really cool because just way he has unique wall jumps. Like he can jump up, he can go straight down, and he can run. That's a big deal in Street Fighter 5. He can run, but now in Street Fighter 6 we have Drive Rush. So maybe Rashid running might be a little redundant. You think? So I wonder how they're going to keep him as this very fast character in a game where there's a universal mechanic where everyone can go fast. What do you think?
Right. I would have said that the most important part of Rashid's design as a character is mostly the fact that he's a very sticky, rushdown character. He's always able to stay on you. Not necessarily because of the speed, but because in Street Fighter 5 he has amazing plus frames, and also you can reset pressure with the whirlwinds, especially if you're not slipping at the wheel. I mean, it's pretty hard to deal with them regardless, but and then he can go back in and pressure you again. Right, and then when he's at that mid-range, he starts throwing out crushing heavy punch, and then you get crush countered, that sort of thing. So, like Street Fighter 6, since plus frames are a little bit harder to come by, I would expect that he would have something unique to stay in, kind of how we saw that Cammy seems to still have her plus some block dive kicks. it's very possible that Rashid might have something similar. In which case, I would assume it would be the whirlwinds and stuff like that, right? So
Yeah.
that would be his unique trait, which helps him, be that rushdown character that he needs to be. So
Mhm.
maybe not having the dash slash run is not that big of a loss as long as he has other ways of going in, and he might still have his V skill roll, right? His V skill 1
Oh
that
yeah.
could just become a special move now,
Yeah.
and that would also be another way of getting in.
Right. Right. Rashid, he's a pretty popular character. He was the hero of Street Fighter V. Not too many people know about that. And a lot of people
Everyone
also
plays the
liked,
story.
yeah, a lot of people also liked his theme song too. But it seems like
Absolutely.
with the way the music is done in Street Fighter 6 Mirror, there might not even be lyrics this time to his song. So I wonder
Yeah,
how that's gonna go.
yeah, that's unfortunate. I mean, my theory personally is that they are really thinking about those commentators,
Hmm.
not being overpowered by the music. So yeah, I doubt that it will have lyrics this time around, which is unfortunate. I also thought his theme was pretty hype.
Yeah.
I just hope
Yeah.
that they have, like all the classic themes. That'd be great. Like as a maybe an additional thing that you unlock or
Hmm.
some audio pack. That'd be nice, but it'd be criminal not to include them, including Rashid's.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, move on. Let's talk about Aki now. And we
Ooh,
noticed that her name is an acronym, and they still pronounce her name as Aki. And
yeah,
we talked about before with the character leaks is that she obviously seems like some type of relation to Fang because her
right.
name is in acronyms. She's from China, and she just has that look. She's kind of like she looks tall, at least in the artwork.
Mhm.
And we know before that I discussed about this side story of Fang, where I talked about after Shadowlu's downfall, where he's trying to reconstruct Shadowlu, and he becomes a mentor, and he finds this apprentice named Phantom. He called her, and I'm thinking that this is the same character, or at least some type of retcon or something that has to do with Fang
Mhm.
in either way. And that's pretty much the only information that I can go off of for her. But you can see she has like this accessory, like these long nails, like this claw accessory on her
Right.
hand.
Yeah, no, I think you're spot on in the sense that this character, I believe, also is related to Fang, which means that she might be related to Shadowloo in some way, because obviously Fang is related to Shadowloo as well.
Right.
I think poison, as in poisoning the opponent, might be part of her game plan because these fingernail claws, they're purple. Not that it means anything in particular, but Fang's poison was also purple. So
Mm-hmm.
since there's a connection already, it
Yeah.
would make sense that she might have poisonous attacks.
Yeah.
The other question is that so far in the roster, we don't have any other Shadow character. Well, technically, we don't have none because Aki is DLC. So,
Yeah.
is she going to include other, things from other Shadow characters, namely Vega, right? Because Vega has a claw as a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder what kind of gameplay will she have, right? Because Fang already kind of plays. It can play the long range neutral because he is pretty tall and he has long range limbs.
Mm-hmm.
But if with the extra range of the claw, that could be much more similar to Vega, especially if she has good movement speed and other mobility options.
Right.
So it's whether or not they're going to try and create kind of like this hybrid function of the two. Because unfortunately in Street Fighter V, both characters kind of had a troubled history, I would say, as far as
Yeah.
competitive viability. So
Yeah.
maybe they just figured out that mixing them together is what will help them become viable in Street Fighter 6.
That would be interesting. Vega has been a strong character in a couple of games, like Sevius 2 and ST for sure. But
And he's still paying for that sin.
oh yeah, he is. He definitely is. And in Street Fighter V, I liked the idea that they tried to change the character by adding like a stance system to him.
Yeah.
But Fang, Fang was a new character, and Aki, she's also a brand new character. Out of the 4 DLC, she's the only brand new character, right? And so it would be cool if maybe the successor in her hand, maybe it falls off, similar to Vega,
Mhm.
and that would change her in some way. She could even be stronger. It might not even be like a bad thing, right? Because Vega gets he gets some damage buff when he loses the
Yeah, when he
claw.
loses his mask.
Or
But
when he
also
loses the
takes more
mask,
damage.
right? But he loses. The thing is, like, when Vega loses that claw, man, he loses like a lot of stuff too. So
Especially in Street Fighter Five when the moves are actually different. They're not just longer range.
right, but obviously Aki, she's not wearing a mask, right? Unless she's like wearing a wig or something.
The hair pulls off.
Yeah, the hair falls off. But the poison mechanic, I both of us have been, complaining about this poison mechanic since the start of this game. And I really feel like it just wasn't implemented well in Street Fighter 5, and they just couldn't figure out a way to implement it without making it overpowered. And I hope this time around, assuming she has a poison mechanic, I think it's safe to assume she has one. She's gonna have one.
If she's related to Feng, I think it's very possible.
I hope they do it properly or find a way to make it cool. I think the most important thing is to make it threatening, like make it like intimidating, like something you don't want to get poisoned. Like obviously the poison does something in Street Fighter 5, but it's not enough to make the opponent like really scared about it. It's not something
especially
like,
when the rest of Feng's damage is also relatively low.
Yeah,
so even if you get
absolutely.
comboed while the poison is going on, the damage is
Oh
still not that good.
I think with Street Fighter 6's system, there might be a unique opportunity that maybe I was thinking instead of draining the health for the poison, maybe it could drain the opponent's drive gauge. What do you think about that? Would that be too strong?
Yeah, that's a possibility as well. I was thinking that another way of doing it, since assuming that Aki is kind of like reworking a bunch of Shadowloo characters. You know how M. Bison's V Trigger 2, he has that command throw that was the bomb on you?
Uh-huh.
And maybe Aki could do something similar where she poisons you. If the poison expires, you get stunned and she gets a combo.
That'd be kind of cool.
That could be a way of making it threatening, right? Because then you're really scared of just sitting there because you just get a free combo if you didn't do anything.
I like the time bomb idea because it's something. It makes me think of Gen. When he hits like the pressure point thing, you have like a time before it detonates. Yeah. Something similar like that's kind of cool. It'd be cool if she had like a super that was like that, and that involved the poison as well. Another thing about Fane is that he's like a zoner. It's really strange. But the thing about him as a zoner is that his fireball was a down charge. So the way the character was played was very clunky in my opinion. And I hope Aki is not like that. I hope she's more like what you said, that maybe she's like Vega, where she's high speed. She has very long range buttons because of the claw or the nails. And she has the poison, so she's more of like this assassin. I mean, Fang was an assassin too, but Fang was like this weird zoner, and I don't know. I just think there's just some design decisions with Fang that I didn't like as him as a character. The way he played, it was like a lot of things kind of were counterintuitive, and the way he was played near the end of Street Fighter V's life I wasn't a fan of. Another thing too is Aki's personality. I hope she's not a goofy character like Fang.
She doesn't look like a goofy character, but that doesn't really mean anything. I guess the hair is a little bit out there. She could be the very serious, not without a personality, but very cold assassin kind of lady. Or maybe she could be the femme fatale, a little bit more elegant and kind of like assassins, like leaving a mark behind, this mysterious assassin sort of thing that is almost respected but feared. There's a lot of possibility. We just know literally nothing, just their stance basically, and that she has these claws that are clearly very important. But no, I wanted to mention one extra thing that might be related to the gameplay.
What's up?
If you're thinking that it's this character is related to Fang and Vega, and looking at the other characters in the DLC, Vega before Street Fighter 5 used to be a charge character, and Fang is a charge character. And none of the other DLC characters that we've seen so far probably are. They probably also are not charge characters.
Okay.
So I would assume that Aki could be a charge character.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that's a good point. It does seem like we are kind of lacking charge characters in the Street Fighter 6 department. I don't know if that's done on purpose, because from Capcom's perspective, they consider charge characters to be easier characters to play. But in my experience, from like listening to other people, a lot of people consider charge characters harder characters to play.
Just the execution is harder, but maybe the decision making is simpler. Maybe that's what they're thinking.
Maybe
as a Capcom HQ. But yeah, like on average, there's always more emotional characters anyway. So
I think you might be onto something though. If this could be an opportunity for them to have some kind of hybrid, and kind of Vega's moveset if he's not returning to Street Fighter 6. And if that is the case, then you might be right. Maybe she is a charge character. And that would still mean like charge characters usually have really good command normals, right? So that would still fit the Vega aesthetic, having long range buttons. Yeah, man. If you guys don't know, Fang was like a rejected character from the Darkstalker series. And I don't know if he was supposed to be super serious, but when they brought him the Street Fighter 5, man, he was like a super goofy character. And it's really weird because when they did the side story for Fang, though his personality, he's not goofy at all. He's like super serious and really scary dude. And it's a very cool side story. I think I'll post a link to that video if you guys are interested in it. It's a very interesting thing that Capcom posted. But I hope Aki is more like that, like we talked about before. And I think so far, obviously I haven't played Street Fighter 6 with the new characters, but their track record for the redesign of characters, such as like Lily, or DJ and Manon and all that, seems to be really good. Like their new character design is awesome. It's very good so far. So I think Aki, she seems like a very popular character too. I have a lot of people very excited for Aki. And then, so for new character design, I think Capcom's nailing it.
Yeah, I think the fact that she doesn't at least appear to be goofy attracted a bunch of people to her. This mysterious, assassin claw design, fair skin. I think it's pretty striking. I mean, to be fair, Fang's design was pretty striking too, but in a different way. Looked like a thin man from XCOM. That's what he looked like. So, yeah, I mean, I'm hopeful that this character is gonna be interesting. Of course, with newcomers, it's always very difficult to predict because we can go off of maybe their relationship with other characters, but even then, like all that we're saying is, based on assumptions, right? We don't have any official confirmation from Capcom, so this could be a red herring in a way.
Yeah.
But I think at least the connection with Fang is pretty much everything but confirmed because of the name, the acronym, the claws, purple. We got everything there.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's move on, man. Let's talk about Ed. Look at Ed, man. Just look at that body, dude. This guy is an underwear model. Look at that.
It's pretty funny because a bunch of people that I know that didn't really weren't aware of the leaks. They weren't quite happy to see.
Really? I mean, yeah, I hear some people not happy about Ed too, but man, we're getting a lot of Ed action, especially in the tournaments lately as well. But for Ed, I guess the first thing I want to talk about is that Ed was introduced to Street Fighter V as a character with simple inputs. We looked like Capcom was experimenting, right, with the idea of maybe how modern controls would work, or the idea of even having an entire Street Fighter that didn't have motions. And the design of Ed, on paper, that makes us cringe a little bit because we're like, oh man, this character is gonna be, super busted. But the way they designed it, I think, was really good in Street Fighter V. In the sense of, for example, him having a reversal that's like just an input of 3 punch buttons, but it has a very slow startup to balance it, even though it is one of the best reversals in the game. And also his anti-air being just 2 kicks, making it really slow, so it's hard to do it as like a cross cut or in a clutch situation where he can just mash it easily, because having a 2-button anti-air would be insane, right?
Yeah, I mean the thing that's interesting about Ed is basically that since Street Fighter 6 didn't go the route of making modern controls, what Ed's simple controls were.
Yeah.
The thing that's interesting is that Ed could still have the controls that he did have in Street Fighter 5 because it wouldn't overlap with how modern controls work.
But so that's the question, though. Like, do you think they're gonna do that though? Because I think even if it doesn't overlap, it loses kind of its charm of what made the character unique. Because you could just play Ed on modern controls and it would be similar.
Right, but at the same time, the simple controls offer a level of the ability to react to things in a way that a character with motions normally is not able to. It's much more similar to a charge character, but you also don't need the charge, so that's a bonus. So, like, a great example would be in Street Fighter 5 is actually Rashid would be the matchup I was talking about. If Rashid does a block string on you with the whirlwind and there's a little gap, with Ed it's actually quite easy to stop that because you only need to press 3 punches to do your cycle upper.
Right.
Um, and that is something that I could bring back in Street Fighter 6 as a feature, in the sense that this is the character that you pick for those matchups where it's very important that you react to very little tells and small gaps in block strings, because maybe this utility is gonna come back in the form of cycle upper and every move that he already had, plus some extra, probably, because
Hmm.
Street Fighter 6, it seems that a lot of characters are getting extra tools. Maybe a lot of the V skills and V triggers are gonna come back as supers and new special moves, so that's the possibility as well.
Yeah.
And for Street Fighter 6, it seems that they definitely are thinking about counter picking as a legitimate, you know, feature, I guess, of tournament play, in the sense that because the universal mechanics are so universal. Uh, it's possible to learn different characters without maybe putting in as much time as Street Fighter 5, arguably, because the V system was completely different for every character in Street Fighter 5, and them are gone in a way. But Street Fighter 6, the universal system is, well, again, pretty universal. So maybe Ed is thought to be kind of like that counterplay character that you can pick in certain matchups, and having those simple controls would be one of the reasons to pick him.
Hmm. Going back once again to the balance of Ed's moves in Street Fighter 5 and his
Mhm.
simple inputs is every move that like special move he has some type of inherent weakness because of the input. Even his
Right.
fireball, it's forward medium punch and then you press punch again, but it's a fireball that it doesn't come out until you do both commands. So it's not just
Mhm.
one, right? And like once again, I feel like while he has these little weaknesses because they're simple inputs, but then if you play a character like Ryu on modern controls, you're getting his powerful moves with the simple inputs without the drawbacks that Ed has. So
Mhm.
I'm wondering that in terms of these returning characters, I feel like Ed is the biggest opportunity for Capcom to actually rework his moveset. And thinking about it, I really do. I like once again. I think Ed's design is good from like a balancing standpoint. From well, before the 1-2-3 madness, but like seriously, the thought they had in mind of how to make like a simple input character work, I think they did a good job. But the moves themselves, considering that Ed is a character that has cycle power, right, and he's a character that's been trained by Balrog. I mean, man, there is a unique opportunity for this character to be really has some really cool moves, and I was actually really disappointed on what his moves would be like with that combination. And if you look at Ed's artwork, Mira, you'll notice that he actually isn't wearing like the boxing gloves anymore. Like it doesn't look
Yeah.
silly, right? And I wonder if that might be just like a hint on maybe a change in style. It's small, but I I personally, if I were to rework Ed, I would love him to be more, really show off that nimble speed, kind of like how Steve Fox's design in like Tekken,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
how he played in Cross Tekken, right? Even how he has like he can shimmy and he can duck, right, and do the cross
Right.
and stuff. I think that would be awesome for Ed if they redesigned him in that way. I think that'd be so cool.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, in any case, I feel that Ed is going to come out of this with more moves than we've ever seen before. Like it's gonna be all the moves that he had in Street Fighter 5, at least, assuming that they don't rework him completely, plus uh, V system stuff, plus possibly something new entirely.
Hmm.
And it could, maybe some of these new moves are gonna be motions, so it's gonna be hybrid in that sense, right? Like
Hmm.
some new moves that are motions and some old moves that are easy inputs.
Hmm.
I'm not sure if that would cause, terrible overlaps. We've seen other characters like Falk that also have simple inputs that you can kind of make do with different strategies to add extra moves to the to the list of tools that you have, right? So maybe Ed will also have something that is kind of like hold and release,
Hmm.
just like Falk was. Could be maybe a turnaround punch special sort of move because of his training with Balrog. I mean, we already know that his charge standing heavy punch basically is a nod to the Balrog dash punch in a way, right?
That's right.
So there's more things that you could get from Balrog, right? Ability to change some of his moves in a way that resembles more of that kind of move set.
Right.
And before those are charge moves as well. Balrog's a charge character.
Yeah. I feel like when Ed was like when the rumors started coming out that Ed was going to be a new character in Street Fighter V, a lot of people were extremely excited about Ed. Mostly because of how he looked before. He was like a teenager. He was like a young. He had that NMM look, you know. He had the hoodie,
Yeah.
and a lot of people liked that because the aesthetic of Street Fighter V, like all the guys were like these big, roided out muscle men, but everyone liked the idea of this skinny kid in a hoodie would be really cool, you know. And even the director mentioned this. It could have gone 50-50. They could have had the older Ed, like muscled out, or they could have went the hoodie look. And they decided last second to go for the Ed that we know now. And I personally think that that wasn't the right choice. I think they should have went with the younger Ed. I think he would have been way more popular as a character if they did that. But now looking at his design here, he doesn't look the same as he did in Street Fighter V. They're definitely trying, like, I mean, like once again, he looks like an underwear model, but he looks like not. He doesn't look as bad. Like he has that kind of that younger teen kind of look, but compared to what he did in Street Fighter V. And if you see his affiliation, we see the German flag, and we also see the Neo Shadowloo logo on him. And like we talked about before with Aki, you mentioned how she might be trying to reconstruct with Shadowloo because of Fang. It looks like Ed is still affiliated with this Neo Shadowloo.
Yeah, in the leaked artwork, we see that he's wearing a badge, a Neo Shadowloo badge as well, on his jacket, which we actually do not see in the most recent artwork because his fist is covering it up. But even then, I'm curious how that's gonna play into everything that he does. Of course, the Psycho Power I fully expect to come back, but maybe there's gonna be more to it. As we know, these characters are going to appear in the main story, as it was basically announced during the event when the DLCs were revealed. So maybe talking to Ed will tell us more about the future of Neo Shadowloo after the events of Street Fighter V. You know what happened, and maybe those other Neo Shadowloo refugees as well, including Falk and the other two characters that were shown, the gorilla and
Straw Hat guy. That's not a straw hat. It's weird.
Not a straw hat. No.
I always argue with my chat about that.
But I'm curious. Like,
yeah,
there's definitely a lot of potential because Ed, his story was cut short, I would say, in Street Fighter V because they kind of introduced them, hyping him up a lot, and then it just ended there.
Yeah, it was
Street
weird.
Fighter V was the way it was.
Yeah, and when I was trying to explain before about how Ed looks different, I was trying to say that he looks more like casual wear because before he was trying to. It looked like he was more like he was taking over for Shadowloo, right? Because Bison has him as a clone or whatever, but now like does Ed look like a leader? Because like he's wearing like casual jeans, he's got his jacket out. The only thing that looks like just his shoes, he's got like his boxing shoes, but besides that, does he look like he's still like a leader, of this organization? So I wonder what they're gonna do with Ed's story if he still gets a little of a spotlight and see where he goes from there, because it looks like he's still trying to change things. Maybe he'll have like a little story where he's trying to still take down Shadowloo for good, or what they did to him. It'd be cool if there was him, like, I don't know, talking to Balrog still. It'd be cool because that story with Balrog, man, that ending with Ed, man, it gave me the feels, bro. It gave me the feels. It was a cool little story. One of the better ones, I think, in Street Fighter V. Terms of the story mode.
For how little they were. I mean, some of them were extremely short.
Yeah. So Capcom, change Ed, please. Change his moveset. No 1, 2, 3, please. Not even 4, 5, 6 if it's the OD version. They gotta change him, man. They gotta make him more like Steve Fox, I think. All right, Mir, are you ready? It's time. It's time to talk
our boy
about Akuma, bro. Damn, Akuma. This is one of Capcom's trump card characters. This character is so extremely popular, it's unreal. Akuma, man, Very, very exciting. A lot of things they can do with this character. Akuma is unique in many ways. He's supposed to be one of the most powerful characters in the story, and he's very unique because he's always a glass cannon character with a crazy robust moveset. But I have to ask, Amir, what do you do with a character that has that history in a game where everyone has the same amount of health and everyone already has a robust toolkit? How do you make Akuma stand out?
That's fairly interesting because I'm not sure if it is a new development, but in the footage that we've seen from the event, there were the custom characters fighting each other,
Mm-hmm.
and the battle hub and such as one of the features that they've shown, and we could clearly see that they had different health. So I don't know if that's because of the gear that you're using, right? Because as you obtain gear and stuff, it changes your stats
Yeah.
for your custom avatar. So that might just be only for the custom avatar battles.
Yeah.
But if that's a hint at a mechanic that is actually going to be in the final game, as in characters having different amounts of health, then Akuma could always be that character.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the other way of making him special would be to replicate the fact that he has low health um, in other games, assuming that we do have the same health pool for everyone. Is special moves or maybe some empowered version of his special moves actually consume his own health, so as to replicate the fact that he like takes more damage basically.
That's a
Except
good idea.
he takes more damage as he does them.
That's a good idea. I like that idea.
Like it's possible that, for example, instead of burning himself out, I mean that would be very powerful. But instead of burning himself out, he loses health over time for something like that. But you don't get the all the problems that come with being in burnout, that
Right.
sort of thing.
Right. In Third Strike, Akuma, he can't use EX moves, right?
Right, but he has 3 different supers available at all times. You have the one that you choose,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have Raging Demon and KKZ.
Yeah, regardless of the super he chooses, right?
Right, and those both cost both bars.
Right.
All the supers are the same length. In case you
Right.
guys didn't know, in Street Fighter 3, different supers take different amount of meter.
Mm-hmm.
But Akuma, because he has this special mechanic, all his 3 supers are the same amount of meter to be performed.
Right. So Akuma has to be strong. Like that's just the cool thing about the character. He has to be strong. That's part of the things that makes him cool. He's one of those characters that can get away with it too. Like if he's like OP, no one complains about it because it's Akuma. It's the lore, bro. He's supposed to be strong. And I want him in Street Fighter 6 to be really strong because the Shotos look good in this game. Luke, Ken, and Ryu, they all look good, but Akuma has to be better than good. He's got to be badass.
Right.
So,
and I guess we've been kind of dancing around the topic, I suppose, but there's something wrong, or not wrong, but there's something strange about Akuma's hair and in general his design, because as we saw in the original leaked artwork, he has this traditional red hair, and that fur waistcoat that he's wearing is also brown, which matches his hair.
Yeah.
But in the artwork that we see, I mean, Akuma's hair is white, and so is that waistcoat of his.
Yeah.
So
what's going on?
The first thing that I thought, because I knew of the leaks,
yeah,
was that this could be kind of like an install special form, because we know that Shin Akuma in other games had white hair.
Yes.
So I wonder if he has, like a special Shin Akuma mode, and maybe that's what makes him unique.
That would be very cool. Very cool. Assuming so that there's a lot to talk about here. First off, I don't think people are a huge fan of Akuma's look in Street Fighter V because of the lion mane hair look.
I think the look was fine, although the little top hair bun thing, that was a little bit strange. Make him look like a flower. But it was mostly the fact that Street Fighter V, unfortunately, wasn't very good at rendering hair in a way that was believable.
Right. With the leaked artwork for Street Fighter 6, you can see a little bit of the gray streaks in his hair, just a little bit.
Yeah.
And in Third Strike, which would be like the latest in the timeline at that for Akuma, it was just showing that he's just getting older, so they showed some gray streaks in his hair there too. So now either they either changed the look and they wanted to make Akuma even older now, or Or like you said, they're hinting on an install possibly, and that begs the question on how his Raging Demon work. Like he's got to have his Raging Demon, but
Yeah, for sure,
if
he
his
does.
Raging Demon, we have to also assume his Raging Demon is a level 3. So if it's a level 3, I don't think that it should be, because every character's level 3 has to be easy to combo into, easy to get into, right? And I think the Raging Demon, it wouldn't be good enough for just if it was his only level 3. So I think Akuma will probably be one of the only characters in the game that has 2 level 3s. And one way they can do that is, like you said, he can have an install, assuming his install would be a level 2. Then if he spends one more bar during the install, so he uses all 3, then he'd be able to do the Raging Demon. That'd be one possibility. The other is he simply has 2 level 3s. Like if he has 3 bars, he can do a Raging Demon, or he can do another level 3 that's easier to combo into.
Yeah, and there's also the boring possibility of
What's that?
the Raging Demon is just the critical art.
Ugh, no. Wait, that'd be terrible.
I'm just saying though, it's possible.
Yeah,
Hopefully they don't do that. I think that would be very boring.
Oh yeah, extremely boring.
In general, I think the idea of having multiple supers, something unique to him, would be cool. Like in general, the ability of being able to choose would give him that extra threat as well. Yeah. Again, the problem is not necessarily coming up with ways of how can Akuma be broken, because that's really easy. You just think of silly ways of making him powerful. It's how you balance it, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the thing that makes it difficult.
Yeah.
Because I can think of a million ways of how they could do it. You know, like the moment you use a Raging Demon, you cannot gain meter anymore for the rest of the match. That sort of thing. It's like there's a lot of ways of balancing it out, but I'm not sure which way Capcom will go, because it's very possible that it might not make Akuma the broken character anymore. Maybe they just think that that's not.
I don't like that. I don't like seeing
right?
Akuma
Like
being
that's
weak.
the problem, but we cannot read into what they're really thinking.
I know,
right?
just the way Akuma, like Akuma, when he started off in Street Fighter V, a lot of people didn't regard him very strong, but then Tokido showed the way, and then we were seeing Akuma everywhere. And even though you see Akuma, he's still fun to watch. He's such a cool character. And then at the end, you know, they went a little too hard on Akuma, way too hard. And even when you got to see Akuma just a little bit in tournaments, even though he was weak, it was still so exciting to watch. So I hope that they keep him strong, and I also hope that he stays unique. I think that's very important for Akuma. And it doesn't just have to be health. It doesn't have to be, it could be something as simple as give him 7 bars of drive meter. It could be like just something that other characters don't have. I think a huge robust move set at the very least. And like we were talking before, maybe 2 level 3 supers would be very cool. I mean,
again, like the problem is not necessarily making him strong and just balancing him out. So I wonder.
He gets a pass though.
I'm just really curious about that part specifically. Because I'm sure that they know how much Akuma is important to the fans. You know.
Yeah.
So they won't betray them like that. But
of course.
I'm afraid for the competitive viability. So.
I told you Akuma gets a pass, man. No one cares if he's OP. No one cares except for you players.
Except for
you players. That's it, dude. Look at Akuma. Look at how cool this character looks. Everything he wears is like practical. You know, like his belt. It doesn't represent any type of status at all. It is just a rope to hold up his pants. You know, his pants are shredded, and like you said, he's got like that bear pelt. And it's just to keep him warm. It's just, man, Akuma's just so cool.
Yeah, so why is he not wearing a shirt? But anyway, I was gonna say things that he's not wearing.
Maybe he's somewhere really warm, dude. He's probably training in a cave somewhere, you know. So like,
it's gotta be cold. What gives?
I mean, that's why he's got the bear pelt, man, and he's got long ass hair. Like that's gonna keep his shoulders warm. So Akuma's fine, dude.
I was gonna say, speaking of things that he's not wearing, I think Ryu stole his shoes, his sandals.
I know. I don't know what's Ryu's problem, man. But you know, I'm thinking too is like, Akuma, like his story in Street Fighter V was just being a bully to Ryu. You know.
Mm-hmm. Also killed Gen.
Yeah, that too. But but like, where does Akuma go from here? Because at the end of Third Strike, Akuma is just so powerful by that point that like, does he even care about Ryu anymore? You know, and Ryu's kind of moved on. Ryu's more like a master now. You know, he's got his thing with Oro. I just like, where does Akuma fit in all this, right? Is he just gonna be a fruit vendor and he's just gonna be chilling somewhere? You know, like where's Akuma? No matter what he does, Mir, he's cool. He's cool no matter what he does. But I really wonder if, because Akuma, he's kind of neutral as much as he is like. You think Akuma's like this super evil bad guy. He kind of is at some point, but he is kind of neutral. Like he doesn't really care about like what's going on. He just wants to challenge himself. He's all for himself, right? So
I think he's is the yin and yang with Ryu and Akuma, right? Because Ryu now he's mastered the power of nothingness, which is a big deal in Japanese culture, right?
Yeah.
While Akuma instead the killing intent, right? The power of destruction kind of like represents emotion, which is the opposite in the culture. So like they complement each other very well in that sense. And but like you said, he's not necessarily evil. It's not particularly good either. So it'd be interesting if you find them in a cave somewhere in World Tour, like as a secret area, and then you go visit him, and he's like the super secret boss that bodies you.
That'd be super cool. And Akuma has had plenty of opportunities to kill Ryu too, many opportunities, but he's trying to push him because he wants it. You know, he knows Ryu has potential to be a very strong adversary. So I wonder if they're going to continue that story, because Ryu seems really strong in the story now, right? Because like you said, he's overcome the Sasuke no Hado, man. Dude, Sagat's the one that's dealing with that now. So maybe Akuma will be chasing poor Sagat. I don't know. Oh, man. Okay, let's talk about these release dates down here. There is a giant can of worms here that we should talk about. So starting over here, we have Rashid coming in summer 2023. And then we have A.K.I in the autumn. And then next year, so already that's 2 characters, guys. And then we have next year, 2024, we have Ed coming in the winter. And then Akuma comes out in spring 2024, man. So what's your first impression of this? Because to me, this is concerning. This is a long time for 4 characters.
Considering the game comes out in June and Akuma releases in spring, that means that, I mean, there's the possibility that Akuma could be released. Like the worst timeline is that he's released in June as well, because technically summer starts at the end of June. So that's like 4 characters a year, which is pretty rough.
It is pretty rough.
If he's released at the beginning of spring, you know, assuming that everything is released basically around the beginning of the season, we know that Ed, they said specifically after New Year's.
They did.
So assuming that they're released pretty early, if he's released around the end of March, beginning of April, basically means 4 characters every 9-10 months, which probably means 5 characters a year, pretty much.
That is very worrisome.
Still less than what we had in Street Fighter V. And there's an argument to be made about, quality of the characters, and, the movesets are bigger and they have to implement them in World Tour and such. But I understand that a lot of people don't like the idea of having less content, or at least perceived less content, especially if the price point's the same.
Yeah.
That's another thing that, could ruffle some feathers. Right now, I think based on the editions that you can purchase, the one that has the season pass is 25 extra bucks, which would be slightly less than what a character pass cost in Street Fighter V, which was 30. But that's the special edition, so it's very possible that just the pass itself is 30 bucks.
Right.
So like we're looking at a difficult situation, because for one, a lot of people are gonna buy the pass because they want Akuma, and then they have to wait 9 months.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy.
That's problem 1.
Yeah.
Problem 2 is we're getting less characters. I mean, regardless of how you slice it, it seems like we're getting less characters.
Look, man, there's 18 characters, bro, in Street Fighter 6 launch, and there were 16 characters in Street Fighter 5. But the first season of Street Fighter 5 got 6 characters. And now we're getting 4 characters. And guess what? After 1 year, Mirror, that means Street Fighter 5 and Street Fighter 6 will have the exact same amount of characters. There'll be 24.
Right. Except then, you can argue that Street Fighter 6 characters are more involved.
That's right.
But this raises a question, right? Because maybe year 2 it could be more characters, right?
That's
You could
right.
argue that's like, oh, maybe the first year,
But
thing
that's
is blah, blah,
copium
blah,
at this
blah.
point, Mir. That's copium now because
Well, I mean, I'm just saying that that's a
yeah,
possibility. I'm not
right,
saying that it's what's gonna happen.
right.
That's a
That's what I
possibility.
hope happen. I hope you're right, dude.
Oh,
I
well, I
hope
mean,
you're
yeah,
right.
yeah. I think there was a time where we were like, oh, the first DLC set of DLC characters is 4 characters because they're gonna do
Yeah,
6 4 characters
that's
and then a
I
6 more set
I
of 4
thought
characters.
these 4 characters would be out before 2024. That's what I thought.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I think I thought that as
now
well,
we know that's
honestly.
not the case, right? And look, man, I get it. Like these characters are really robust. They have to be added to World Tour. There's a lot more that goes into this now, development wise. Even though Capcom has a way bigger team this time, but at the end of the day, man, there are a lot of characters missing. A lot, man,
Right.
from entire franchises. Like we are missing, Final Fight characters. We're missing Street Fighter 3 characters and characters, especially in legacy fighting games like Street Fighter, dude, are one of the most important factors when it comes to people picking up these games, and whether you have this giant world tour or not. And now knowing that it's gonna be a very slow pace is concerning to me. Don't get me wrong, I'm super excited for Street Fighter 6, but this has got to have some people down. It just has to, man.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
There's gonna be
I think
consequences to this.
the best we can expect right now is 4 characters per 9 months, but it would be a strange way of doing it because
Yeah, man.
they called it a year 1 pass.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd expect that's all we get. So
Yeah.
the second best possibility, I suppose, is that the second year we get more characters. We get 5 or maybe
Mhm.
6.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be cool. It'd be nice if they were working, like another way that you could look at this, and this is some hardcore copium, but I'm gonna go with it.
Let's
Is
hear
that
it.
they're working on, like this mega expansion for season 2, where it's Street Fighter 6.2 or whatever, where they add Shadowloo Island and 5 Vegas.
Shadow
And,
Island, baby. That is the copium right now, Mir, is that they need time to because they're not just thinking about characters for their updates. They're thinking about a
Yeah.
giant expansion. And maybe Super Street Fighter 6 is going to be that huge, just like how Street Fighter 5 had the arcade edition jump,
Right.
This
Yeah,
will be
yeah.
the same thing, and maybe it'll be like 6 or more characters. Dude, 8 characters would be the dream, but now I don't know. That's like we're at half now, and it's crazy, dude. So
It's also difficult to figure out if DLCs in the future, right? Especially if there are these huge expansions that we're theorizing about. If those mean something like 2 or 3 characters released at once on top of the expansion,
Yeah.
or you have to wait for the characters that are going to be featured
Yeah.
in said expansion.
Yeah.
Because it'd be kind of weird if you think about it. Then let's say this Shadowloo Island exists, right? And then you get, I don't know, maybe the first character is Bison.
Mhm.
And then the other Shadowloo characters, they're staggered over the course of a year. That's kind of odd, Like you would want to have them immediately. So
right.
it's difficult to juggle, and we really have no clue what's going on because this game is just being handled so differently from Street Fighter 5. Another thing that made me wonder was they showed these characters, right, that they're coming. I wonder how much of it was because they were leaked. Kind of like Street Fighter 5 Season 1, where they didn't want to show them, and then they got leaked. And they were like, oh, yeah, guys, look at this. The silhouettes of names.
I mean, they didn't show footage. And I was kind of worried that if they showed DLC, it would, piss a lot of people off to say, hey, we're already, like, having DLC, and these characters are already on the disc. Like, Capcom will never repeat that mistake.
Yeah.
They don't have footage. And looks like Rashid might be coming out soon, too, because it says summer. I would assume that a Rashid would come out right after EVO,
Yeah,
like
it's
in
possible. August to September, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a good opportunity to get the ball rolling. But I think we're not going to get some questions answered, Mir, until we hear about what's going on the second year. And I think that's really going to determine how Street Fighter 6's content goes.
Yeah.
And
so far, we can just hope and cope.
You can just hope and cope at this point. But I feel like if it's worst case scenario and we are looking at 4 characters every 9 months or whatever, every character counts at this point. It is very important, man. They choose
they
the
all
right
have to
characters.
be good.
Yeah, they have to be like big money maker characters. I'm talking like they gotta release like the Sakura, man. They gotta release, the evil reuse. The who?
Sagat.
Oh yeah, Sagat, my dude. There's they gotta be careful on which ones they choose. We can't have like a a Street Fighter 5 Season 2 situation, man, because they can't
Yeah,
take
I
that
know,
risk.
right? Like the new characters are gonna be
No,
really tough to implement. I
no.
can see them, most of them being reworked functions,
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah,
because then it's an excuse to kind of like slide them in sneakily.
yeah.
I also fully expect Bosch from the story mode to be a DLC character at some point, 100%.
Dude, they showed some other like World Tour characters that could show up too. There's even like Damned. They're keep showing Damned over and over again as well.
Yeah, they showed Carlos from Final Fight 2.
Dude, like, is that even Carlos, or is that just some avatar that's dressed up like Carlos?
I don't know.
That's
That's his name. And it kind
tell.
of like him.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Where's Ma-Ki, man? Ma-Ki's from Final Fight 2. What's going on?
Yeah, that's true. And Hagar as well.
Yeah, man. I don't know, man. This DLC character thing. It has me concerned for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we can sit here and wonder about DLC characters for an eternity because they're just so many. Not just from mainline titles, right? I mean, they've shown before that they can clearly take characters from other connected in universe games, right? Especially Final Fight and Street Fighter 5, we've seen so many of them. So
yeah, I said, they took a huge risk because they wanted to have every World Warrior character in the game at the start.
Yeah,
and the majority of their new characters in the roster in the start, and that took up just so many character slots, right? So
especially starting with only 18, right?
Right, and with a new producer, there's going to be a new direction on, like, there's going to be some favoritism on what characters they want to see in the game. So
yeah, I'm sure.
So we'll see what happens. But yeah, a lot to talk about, man, and I can't wait to see these DLC characters. But Mir, I guess we should wrap this up. We've been yapping for a while here, but
yeah,
we'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on how you guys think these characters will play. Who you're excited for the most besides Akuma. Everyone's just going to say Akuma. And what do you guys think Capcom should do with their future DLC? Let us know. And yeah, I guess we'll keep you guys tuned. I guess we're just waiting here for us to have a chance to play that demo on PC. And we'll go from there, right?
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I'm sure that the modders are also very interested. Smiley face.
All right, guys. Till next time, everyone. Take care. Peace.
Bye-bye.